Most people are asking the wrong question. They sit down with their spare cash at the end of the month and go, should I overpay my mortgage? Should I invest? Or should I just spend the money? And you treat it like it's a simple either or, like there's a correct answer somewhere on the internet that applies to everyone. There isn't. But what there is a way of thinking about it, and this is what most people never get shown. And once you understand this framework, the decision becomes a lot clearer. But before anything else, I just want to make one thing clear. I'm not here to tell you what to do with your money. I'm here to help you think about it more clearly so that when you do make a decision, you're making it with the right information and not just doing what feels good in the moment. So let's start with overpaying your mortgage. It feels so right because it does, doesn't it? There's something deeply satisfying about reducing debt and about watching that balance go down and about the idea of owning your home outright. There's no bank, no monthly payment. It's yours and you're not alone in that feeling. Santander customers made over 2 billion in mortgage overpayments across 2024. And a recent Barclays study shows that 1 in 4 UK mortgage holders are overpaying £221 a month. So the instinct is everywhere, and here is the thing. The instinct isn't wrong. Overpaying your mortgage is a form of wealth building, and it reduces your interest payment over time, and it can move you down a loan to value band when you remortgage, which could mean a better rate. And psychologically, there is real value in feeling like you own more of your own home. But here's where it gets interesting, because that same emotional pull can sometimes work against you financially. The feeling of overpaying is certain, it feels safe, it's guaranteed, and as humans, we love certainty. But sometimes uncertainty can make you significantly more money over time. So let's look at the numbers, because this is where most people's understanding falls apart. The decision between overpaying and investing comes down to one core question. Is your mortgage rate higher or lower than what your money could earn if it was invested? Right now, the average UK 2-year fixed mortgage rate sits around 4%. So if you overpay, you're effectively getting a return of 4% tax-free and risk-free. Now let's look at what investing has done historically. The FTSE 100, which is the index of the top 100 companies on the London Stock Exchange, has delivered total returns averaging 7.75% since it's launched. And over 20 years, from 2003 to 23, specifically, that comes in at around 6.3% annualized, including dividends. And the S&P 500, the index of the 500 largest companies in the US, has returned an average of 10% since 1957. Now, before anybody says it, yes, past performance is not a guarantee of future results. Yes, markets can go down. Yes, there is risk involved, and I'm not suggesting you put your emergency fund into stocks. But here is the honest reality. If your mortgage rate is 4%, and the stock market historically returns 6 to 10% over long periods, the maths on paper tends to favour investing. The gap between your mortgage rate and the historical market return is called the spread. And the wider that spread, the stronger the mathematical case for investing is for overpaying. Now let's make this tangible. Imagine you have £200 a month spare. If you overpay a £250,000 mortgage at 4%, you save real money in interest and cut years off your mortgage term. That's not nothing, that is genuinely valuable. But if you invest that same £200 a month into a stocks and shares ISA at the FTSE's 100 20-year average of 6% over 20 years, you could be looking at something in the region of £90,000. At the S&P 500's historical average, the number gets considerably bigger. Now, these are illustrative figures. Markets go up and down. Real life is messier than a spreadsheet, but the principle holds. Here is the thing almost nobody mentions when they have this debate. Liquidity. When you overpay your mortgage, that money is gone. It's not invested. It's not somewhere you can access it. It's not sitting in an account you can reach in an emergency. It's gone and it's locked inside the walls of your house. You cannot call your lender and say, remember that extra 10,000 I sent you last year? I need it back. That's not how mortgages work. Investments, on the other hand, specifically something like a stocks and shares ISA, are liquid, not perfectly liquid, not ideal to sell in a market dip, but it's accessible. If your boiler breaks, if you lose your job, if life does what life does, you have options. The financial term for this is opportunity cost, and the human term for this is what if something goes wrong. Most Most financial planners will tell you the same thing. Before you consider overpaying your mortgage or investing heavily, you need 3 to 6 months of essential expenses sitting in an easy access savings account. That's your foundation and it's a non-negotiable. But once that's in place, the liquidity argument is actually another point in favor of investing over overpaying. Because investing builds accessible wealth, overpaying builds trapped wealth. So how do you actually decide? And here is a 3-question framework I would use. Question 1, what is your mortgage rate? If your rate is around 5% or above, the guaranteed return from overpaying starts to look more competitive. With investing, the spread narrows and the case for overpaying gets stronger. But if your rate is below 4%, the maths increasingly points towards investing because the spread between your mortgage cost and historical market returns widens. Question 2, do you have your foundations in place? An emergency fund of 3 to 6 months? High interest debts like credit cards cleared? But if the answer is no to either of those, neither overpaying nor investing is the right first move. Build the foundation first. Question 3, are you approaching a remortgage? If you're 6 to 12 months away from fixing a new deal, and overpaying could push you below a loan to value threshold, say from 75% to 60%, that could unlock a meaningfully better rate. And in that specific situation, the case for a targeted overpayment gets stronger because you're not just saving interest, you're potentially changing the rate you pay on the whole mortgage. And most lenders allow you to overpay up to 10% of your outstanding balance each year, penalty 3. It's worth checking your terms before you do anything. That's something you should consider. Here is what I actually think. The question is not mortgage versus investing. The question is, what is the smartest thing you can do with your money given your specific situation right now? Most people in their 20s and 30s with mortgages below 5% and a decent investment horizon ahead of them, the maths tends to favor investing consistently in a tax efficient wrapper like a stocks and shares ISA or a personal pension. But that does not mean overpaying is wrong. If overpaying your mortgage helps you sleep at night, reduces your anxiety and gives you more confidence to keep going, that psychological value is real and it matters. The worst financial decision is not an imperfect one, it's paralysis. Doing nothing because you cannot decide, leaving the money in a current account earning less than inflation while you overthink the debate. So here is the honest answer. If your mortgage rate is above 5%, start with a targeted overpayment strategy. And if your mortgage rate is below 5% and your emergency fund is in place and you have no high interest debt, maths tends to favor consistent investing. And if you can do a bit of both, that's not a cop-out, and for many people that is exactly the right answer. So nothing I say is financial advice. Your capital is always at risk when investing. But if this has been useful and you want to understand more about how to build a financial system that actually works for you, I put together a newsletter where I break down personal finance. It doesn't have jargon, it's not telling you what to do, it's frameworks that help you think about your money much more clearly. If so, the link is in the description below, and if you want to keep watching, YouTube is suggesting this video next.